Hey guys, it's me. I'd want to apologize for the lighting in this video. It is just after 1 in the morning, so I have no natural light coming in through my window, and my only light source is that lamp that you see right behind me, and it's kind of stuck in the corner there, and my computer's in a position. Anyway, this is the best I could do for the lighting. Sorry if it looks really crappy. Anyway, today, or rather yesterday, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, Nintendo had its pre-Tokyo Game Show conference. That was focused mainly on the ma mainly on the 3DS, and I watched a stream of it. The stream was all in Japanese, but I took as best of notes as I could. And now I'm just gonna kind of read you back my notes and my response. You know how I feel about it all. The notes are in chronological order, so a lot of it might seem a bit unorganized. And of course, I don't understand Japanese, so if there's stuff I don't get or stuff I seem confused about in my notes, well, that's why, because I don't know Japanese, and I try to kind of fill in the blanks just from the video. So anyway, they opened up the conference with a Skyward Sword kind of teaser trailer type thing that ended in the Zelda 25th anniversary logo. Miyamoto then walked onto the stage with the sword and the shield and talked a bit. I really couldn't understand a word he was saying because it was all in Japanese, and the stream I was watching didn't have any subs, which was the official Nintendo stream, by the way, but it was Nintendo Japan. So anyway, after that, they showed some more in-game footage with a lot of focus on puzzles. There was a drawing puzzle, kind of like in Phantom Hourglass, where you had to draw a shape to fill in a thing. But all the puzzles kind of involve the seal that's found on the Hyrulean shield. So there's that. There's also a kind of a wind weapon kind of teased at. It looked like it was shooting out a miniature tornado or something. Next in the footage, there was a minecart level, or a minecart dungeon, I don't know. Either way, Link was riding in a minecart, looked really roller coastery, looked kind of fun to play. They also teased, well, not teased, but in the trailer, there looked like a new type of enemy that might be this game's kind of Dark Knight, or Iron Knuckle, or whatever. It was this big armored guy with a big hammer sword thingy, swinging at Link. There was butterfly catching. I don't know if that's related to the insect catching in Twilight Princess, but you had a net, there was a butterfly. There was also showed off a place where you can make or customize potions. And treasure hunting that had the same, the dirt had the same cross that's found in like Animal Crossing when you're hunting for treasure there. There was also in the footage there was a boss that you fought while flying on the bird mount. They fought a boss like that. It kind of looked like the Windfish from Link's Awakening, actually. Just adjusting myself in the chair here. Sorry about that. I was sitting in it kind of the same position for hours. Anyway. And there's also what might be a Kraken-type boss. Link was in a boat, tentacles came up, pierced the boat, stuff like that. After that, there was a Deku Leaf item, or well, it looked more like a piece of cloth, but it acted like the Deku Leaf in Wind Waker, where you could ride up wind currents and stuff. They also, at the end of the trailer, the Skyward Sword Japanese release date, along with the Gold Edition, was revealed. It is November 23rd in Japan. After that, there was a short trailer, and my computer actually kind of lagged for this, but there's a short trailer for Zelda 4 Swords, DS and 3DS, which I think is downloadable. I think it's the same one that Fizime talked about in the E3 conference, free downloadable game. And it looked like, for a second, again my computer started lagging at this point, but it looked like you could turn on a mode where the whole game kind of looked like the NES Zelda, but with 4 links and, you know, a bit updated. So that's pretty cool, playing the game four-person co-op in kind of an NES type style. I didn't hear or didn't understand if there was online or just local multiplayer, but I guess we'll find out. Also, there was some talk about upgrades to the 3DS shop and Street Pass stuff. So you'll be getting new games, I think, more than just like Find Me and the puzzle game. You'll be getting more stuff from that. So after the Zelda stuff, the Zelda focus, they kind of switched to this montage of 3DS games coming out. Among them, there was some footage from Sonic Unleashed. That was the first thing I noticed because some Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy Theater or something like that. A new Animal Crossing, new Monster Hunter, Tekken 3DS, Mario Kart 3DS, the Dragon Quest 25th anniversary, or it could have been another game. I'll talk about it later. Again, this is in my notes are just in chronological order. Oh wait, no. Okay, so then they went on to talk about new Wii games coming out. One of them was the Dragon Quest 25th anniversary, a new Just Dance, or it could have been Just Dance 2 that was released in America, hasn't been released in Japan, I don't know. There's a game called Go Vacation, a game called, like one of those, it's like a rhythm game, but it's one of those like big Japanese drums. I think it's called Taki Drum or something like that, I don't know. Also some talk about the Kirby Wii game, a new Mario Party, or it could have been like the Mario, like another Mario type party game, but it isn't Mario Party. It had dice involved. I think it was the combination, like a Fortune Street, I think it was called. There's a new Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the London Summer Games, and they announced a sequel to Poké Park Wii, which sadly is not called Poké Park Wii 2 Electric Pikachu. But, you know, I'll let off on that. Then there was some stuff about sales and demographics and how well the 3DS is doing, and they announced that a pink 3DS will be made available in Japan in October. They then showed off some more 3DS trailers, but this time kind of for specified games. There was a Super Mario 3D Land trailer that revealed the propeller block from New Super Mario Bros. Wii being used in 3D in the game. So I think that's pretty cool because that was a really useful block. And there was a new enemy I noticed that was a Blarg, but a sand Blarg. And they gave a Japanese release date of November 3rd. Next came Mario Kart 7. They showed off the kart customization again, and they are doing online multiplayer for the 3DS version, which is really cool, and of course it'll have Mii support. But online multiplayer for Mario Kart, it really worked well on the Wii, and on the 3DS everything's portable, so I really hope that they kind of expand it so you could really just race from anywhere, and anyone from anywhere Mario Kart, hopefully it's not too laggy. I'm excited for that, I really am. They announced Mario Tennis for 3DS. It looks like it's doubles, so 2 people on each side of the team, 4 in all, and that releases in 2012. Then there was a Paper Mario 3DS trailer. It looked like Paper Mario, nothing too unique. I mean, it's Paper Mario, so of course it's unique, but nothing that really caught my eyes any different from other Paper Mario games, except of course that it's on the 3DS. New Luigi's Mansion 2 footage. There was knight statues that attacked, like the swords fell down as Luigi passed by them. Looked like you could collect new vacuums or power-ups to the vacuum, which could be interesting. I mean, power-ups in a Mario game, they always work out, you know, always pretty cool addition, so power-up to a Luigi game, you know, to the vacuum, the Poltergust. I'm really excited to see how that turns out, too. Next, there was some more footage from the Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. It looks like they're going to have wrestling, your regular like sprint races, and also power walking, because apparently power walking is an Olympic sport now. I don't know. Either way, it comes out 2012. Next, they showed off the new Animal Crossing game for the 3DS. The models for the people are they're taller, kind of more proportional, realistic proportions on them. Well, for the humans, I don't know about for the animals, but everyone look, you know, taller and more like that. They're introducing swimming into the game, so you could swim in water now, which is pretty cool for Animal Crossing, and Wi-Fi. So I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of online play. I don't know. It might be just local Wi-Fi. I'm hoping it's online. I heard the words Wi-Fi come out of somebody's mouth, and I'm just assuming that has to do with Animal Crossing. Then there was this freaky game that involved, I don't even know if it's a game or an application. I have no idea what the fuck it was. It was just so freaky. It was like these pictures flashed up, you know, like wedding pictures and memory pictures. And they were like real human bodies, but the faces were like Mii's and stuff. And it was kind of like this married couple reminiscing on their life. And then there was baby sounds, like they had a baby and they got married. And either way, it was just fucking freaky, I thought. And they did some girl games. There was a fashion game. Well, that's about the only girl game. Well, there are more girl games. Anyway, there's some girl games, fashion game, stuff I don't really care about, honestly. They also announced a new soccer game to come out in 2012. I'm not a big soccer fan, but it kind of looked chibi soccer. It had this weird kind of 2D, 3D style, like a diorama of sorts. Um, so that I guess that looks interesting for soccer fans. I don't know. There's also a new board slash card game announced with 3DS. Apparently, it's a popular card game in Japan or something. I don't really know, but it involved like walking on a board, like rolling die and going along a board. But you'd use playing cards, and the playing cards would fight. And again, it was all in Japanese. I really couldn't follow it. There's also a new horror game that used the AR, the not alternate reality, augmented reality functions of the 3DS. It looked to be a horror game, but it definitely used AR. I think there was a possessed girl or something. Again, all in Japanese. I couldn't really tell what's happening. I had to use the pictures, and it looked kind of horror-y, but it was like a book, and it flipped the pages, and you had to use the camera. And really exciting, they announced a new Fire Emblem game for the 3DS. And this Fire Emblem game brings 2-on-1 battles. So far, I think all we've seen is, 2 on your side against 1 enemy. But that should definitely change things up because it adds more strategy. I'm guessing some classes will work better with others. Either way, I can't wait to see how they do the 2-on-1 battles. Definitely should make the game a bit easier, but I'm sure they'll find a way to keep the difficulty of the Fire Emblem games as is. The maps are now in like 3D. I've raised and lowered. It's not all just a flat 2D plane anymore. So the game looks better. Of course, it's the 3DS. It's a more powerful system. You have the 2-on-1 battles. I didn't recognize any characters. I didn't recognize like Marth or Roy, so I'm guessing it's a new story instead of returning to an old one. And that comes out in 2012. Another announcement I got excited for because I recently became a fan of the series was that there's going to be a new Samurai or Dynasty Warriors. I can't tell. I'm leaning, I think it's more Dynasty. Dynasty Warriors, it kind of looks like a Romance of the Three Kingdom type thing. So I'm guessing that is Dynasty Warriors. It has 4-player co-op, and it comes out in 2012. Again, I'm really excited for that because I recently got into the Warrior series when I picked up Samurai Warriors for the 3DS. And I really want to get into it, so I think I'll be picking up that game if it comes out in America. After that trailer, there was a new Square Enix game announced called Bravely Default Flying Fairy, which admittedly is probably the fucking stupidest name I've ever heard of. It seemed to have gameplay very similar to Four Heroes of Light, which was a game on the 3DS. It's kind of like Final Fantasy, but it kind of goes back to Final Fantasy 1, 2, like the basic Final Fantasy things. It is a fantasy genre. It's not sci-fi like Final Fantasy 13, and but basically it's kind of a return to the origins of Final Fantasy. It has it's a beautiful game. These huge, wide open maps, and you have your character just walking across, and you'll see representations of enemies on the map, and you can walk into them, start a battle. So it doesn't look like it's random battles, which I like. There's sailing involved. There's just huge, beautiful maps. Lots of exploration, it looks like. There's a volcano area. As I said, there was sailing. And that comes out in 2012. After that, there was a new Gundam game announced. It was the Chibi Gundams, and I'm not really into Gundam, admittedly. So I don't know if that's Gundam Seed or Gundam SD. The game was called Gundam SD. I don't know if that's the game or if that's the actual franchise of Gundams. But the trailer was actually very hard to follow because it was very, very anime. Just like there's short gameplay spliced in and anime scenes. And I don't know if the anime is part of the game or just trailer stuff. But that comes out in December 2011 in Japan. And I know Japan really loves the Gundam, so I'm guessing that will be a big seller on the 3DS. And speaking of things that Japan happens to like, Sega is making a game called Project Mirai, which has the Vocaloid character Hatsune Miku, and it's a rhythm game, as you might expect if you know anything about what I just said. Looks to use AR, the augmented reality technology of the 3DS, to like have her dance on a card and wherever the fuck you want her to dance. Also comes out. Oh no, that comes out in 2012. There was a new Resident Evil trailer. I think it was for Operation Raccoon City or whatever the already announced Resident Evil 3DS game is, but that comes out in 2012. They then announced an Ace Combat game for the 3DS called Ace Combat 3D Cross Rumble, and Iwata said that it kind of follows in the same vein as Star Fox, and that's all I caught. Then there was a Tekken 3D Prime Edition trailer, and there'll be more on a lot of these games later. This was a really weirdly structured press conference that a lot of it happened after the actual conference ended, is where a lot of the information about these games actually came out. Really weird. But there's a Tekken 3D trailer. Then there was an announcement of Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, which I kind of discussed before. It's a rhythm Final Fantasy game. And I'll get more into that later when I get to it in my notes. But it looks really weird. At first, when I saw the logo, I thought it was a sequel, like a Dissidia type game, but apparently it isn't. Then there was another Square Enix announcement. There's going to be a sequel to the Dragon Quest Slime series. I know in America there's a game like Dragon Quest Rocket Slime or something like that. So there's going to be a sequel to that. Or rather, it's the third in the series, and that releases in 2011. Then there was some more girl stuff. There was a Love Dating Sim RPG that releases in 2011, and then there is a new Love Plus game coming out December 2011 in Japan. I have no idea if it's coming to America. I really doubt it. Then there was a quick mention of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D. No new footage. I don't think there was a trailer. I don't remember. I didn't put it in my notes anyway. So nothing really much there. I'm trying to rush through this because I have a lot of notes and I kind of want to get to sleep. Kid Icarus Uprising got a new trailer. In the trailer, there's a large Medusa. Medusa, of course, is the main antagonist of the series. And I don't know if it was a boss, but it was Medusa. You had Pit flying around her. Then there was another. You saw the big boat ship boss again, the big flying ship boss. With Pit flying around it, more footage of that, and that actually got moved from a 2011 release date to January 2012 in Japan. Again, no word on American release date, but I'm guessing it'll come probably within a month of January 2012 in America. After the trailer, they teased some sort of Kid Icarus anime, or I don't know if like they held up they showed these posters of production footage, I mean production stills of what looked like a Kid Icarus anime, and I don't know if it's going to be like anime on TV or if it's going to like transfer through the 3DS and some sort of video service. But anyway, I think that looks pretty cool. And now here comes the bigger, like the biggest announcement of the conference, and that was Monster Hunter 3DS. Now the first kind of news about it was, of course, that Monster Hunter 3G or Monster Hunter Tri-G is coming to the 3DS. They showed a trailer, and you saw the underwater footage that was present in Monster Hunter Tri. You got gameplay. It looks a lot like, from at least what I know of Monster Hunter, it looks like Monster Hunter, and it looks like just Monster Hunter 3 Plus, really. You got a few new areas there, a few new monsters. I don't know if they're new to the series, but they're definitely new to Monster Hunter 3. A few new weapons, more missions, more multiplayer missions at least. And it releases this year in Japan, which should be a really big boost for the 3DS considering Monster Hunter's popularity there. And then after that, there was another trailer. And this trailer, very actiony. It started, one of the monster hunters climbing up, and then a big dragon kind of was in front of him, and he started running away. And there was this huge chase, and he was like kind of hopping from stone to stone, kind of platforming, and just like running away from the monster. And he finally jumped over a big pit, and the monster fell in, and he's running away. And then another dragon comes down and swoops in front of him, and lands, and he tries to back up, and the other dragon's climbing back up the hill, and he's kind of trapped between the two dragons. And then he he tries to run, but he realizes he can't, so he starts fighting back, and he leaps on top of the dragon and stabs it in the back. And then Monster Hunter 4 for the 3DS, which is a big deal. Like I said, Monster Hunter is extremely popular in Japan, and of course this was pre-Tokyo Game Show, so I'm guessing that's the audience that they're really trying to cater to. But I have to question the mentality behind advertising Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter 4 for the same system during the same conference, without letting any time pass between, you got excited for one, and then you kind of got trumped by the second announcement. So it's like everyone, I have a feeling that, a lot of people are just going to skip Monster Hunter 3G and just go right for Monster Hunter 4, because that is for the same console. Again, we don't know if Monster Hunter 4 is going to be exclusive to the 3DS, but an announcement like that kind of makes it seem like it will be. Or at least the 3DS will be the lead platform for the Monster Hunter 4. Again, really big news. This should be a huge push behind the 3DS in Japan. It should really get sales up. At least pre-orders for this game will go through the roof. Then there was another 3DS group, like a montage of 3DS games coming out. And then Iwata walked off the stage and there were no more people, lights blacked out. It seemed like the end. But then there was this weird fucking footage of Gatchamen, or Battle of the Planets, Science Ninja Team, whatever you want to call them. They were in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. The Joe the Condor, the guys dressed in bird costumes, and they were advertisements for Monster Hunter Tri-G or Monster Hunter 3G. Again, I don't know Japanese, so I couldn't really understand what the fuck was happening. But it was like if any of you guys read comics or know about this in comics, when like the hero, like you had Batman or something trying to rescue the Hostess fruitcakes from Pigeon Man, who was trying to steal them. So it's kind of something like that, where the Gatchamen team would try to fight their anime villains by advertising the Monster Hunter game on the 3DS, and all of it was like, "Oh, Monster Hunter!" And they were like, "Yay, Monster Hunter!" And it was really weird. Then there was an advertisement for Love Plus, the new Love Plus game. Then there was this video for Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, which is kind of like a Final Fantasy Guitar Hero slash beat rhythm game. And basically, you fight monsters by playing the rhythm game. It's like you tap, and you basically have the layout of a Final Fantasy, like a classic Final Fantasy game, where you have the monsters and you have your team, and you'll have the four, for 4 heroes on your team. You'll have 4 bars or 4. I really have no idea what the fuck music is. So, the 4 like things that the notes would be on, and then for each note you click on that, then that warrior would attack. The corresponding warrior would attack for each note you hit. And then you'd also kind of act out the cutscenes, like there was a ballroom scene, I think, from Final Fantasy VIII, and you had to play the music that correlates to the waltz that they were dancing. Then the kind of segued itself into a developer diary of the game, of Final Fantasy Theatrhythm. Again, all in Japanese, I couldn't really understand it, but they really kind of developed on the gameplay footage and explained, oh, you have to tap this, and then it corresponds to this happening on the screen. But it is just a rhythm game, like Guitar Hero, like Band Hero, like anything else. And then at the end of this developer diary, they actually had a very short teaser, maybe 30 seconds of footage of the Kingdom Hearts 3D, the 3DS Kingdom Hearts game, Dream Drop Distance, say that 30 times fast. But really just them kind of, fighting, like nothing really descriptive about it. It was Kingdom Hearts. Then there was a small Bravely Default, fucking stupid name, Bravely Default trailer, that kind of, it was an evolution, basically, the developers in Square Enix talking about the evolution of the Japanese RPG from Final Fantasy I to Bravely Default. And again, it was in Japanese, but I'm sure, it had a lot of interesting stuff. I just couldn't understand any of it. but it was all these different developers talking about how it started from Final Fantasy, and then how Final Fantasy evolved, and then all these spin-offs RPGs and all like that, and it all kind of sums up in Bravely Default, and Bravely Default will have AR cards and AR functions. Then there was another trailer for the Vocaloid game. Again, I don't really give a fuck, so that. Then there was another trailer for the Gundam, the Gundam game, and there was a bit more gameplay in this. It kind of looks like it's an action game, but I can't tell if you'll be fighting one Gundam at a time, like just a fighting game, or if you'll be fighting many of them, like a Samurai Warriors game or something. It's hard to tell, but it looks very anime. And what the footage, from the footage I could tell, it looks like as we'll be playing, they'll splice in footage of the captains, like, you know, like anime footage of the captains screaming out orders and doing special attacks or something. I really couldn't follow it because I'm not a big fan of Gundam, first of all, and even if I was, I don't speak Japanese. And this game will release in Japan with a special edition, a special edition. I don't know why I paused there, as if we're going to say more words that mean anything. But the game seems to go through kind of all the different series of the Gundam franchise. And you'll play through each one, or just some episodes, or a few arcs. Again, I couldn't really follow it. After that was the weirdest fucking ad I've seen probably in my life. It was an ad for Tekken 3D, and it starts with a CEO playing Street Fighter 3D. And then a guy dressed as one of the Tekken characters comes flying in through his window, and you see there's like a quick cut to the Mii Plaza, the 3DS Mii Plaza, to show that they street passed as this guy was flying through his window, and he punches him, and they fall, and this weird stuff happens. And then they actually showed footage of Tekken 3DS, and it looks like Tekken. I mean, what can I say? And apparently the game comes with the Tekken movie, which I didn't even know there was one. But this ad really made no sense whatsoever. So after that, there was a Super Mario 3D Land interview. It was an Iwata's Ask segment. If you know what Iwata's Ask is, it's Iwata sitting down, this time with Shigeru Miyamoto, and talking about Super Mario Land 3DS. And from what I could gather, it was Miyamoto and Iwata discussing how previous Mario games are influencing this newest one. And they had footage from the original Mario Brothers. They mentioned Super Mario Brothers 3, and they had footage of Super Mario 64, and kind of compared that footage to the footage in New Super Mario Land 3D. They showed off more of the propeller block again and the Tanuki suit, but nothing really popped out at me. Just Mario footage, really. It looked really fun, and I can't wait for the game. So after that, there was a video about Mario Kart 7. It started out with footage from people on the street, probably talking about Mario Kart. Again, I really couldn't tell. Then there was a kind of a developer interview, but it wasn't any Iwata's Ask segment. It was just the developer sitting in a chair talking about Mario Kart. Then they showed footage, and they showed footage of 2 new power-ups, a metal power-up that made Mario into Metal Mario. You could still glide with it, because they showed the metal cart gliding. I really don't have any I don't really know what it will do. But they showed that power-up, and they also showed a fire flower weapon that looks like you could shoot the fire ahead of you, or also lay it down like you would a banana or something in Mario Kart. They also announced a new character. Lakitu will be playable in Mario Kart 7. I like Lakitu, so I'm kind of excited for that. I mean, I know the characters don't really change anything, it's just weight classes, but I'm hoping that will hint to a spiny weapon, because of course Lakitu throws the spinies, so I'm guessing maybe that hints towards a new spiny weapon that'll be used in Mario Kart. They also showed footage of a first-person motion control setup for Mario Kart, where you can use the gyroscope in the 3DS to steer your kart, and it happens in first person instead of third person like all other Mario Karts. It looks like it could be an interesting alternative to just, how to play Mario Kart. I think I'll be sticking to third person just because that is more traditional and I'm used to it. But I'd definitely try out the first person, see if it works better. Then there was Kid Icarus, another Kid Icarus trailer. And this started off by actually showing a shadow pit or evil pit. And you saw Pit fighting this dark pit, and they came to a draw. Then there was kind of Palutena and Pit just talking, and it was just static, pictures, and they were like blah 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 blah, and they showed that all the enemies and all the weapons and all the NPCs will have collectible AR cards. And I don't know if you'll use the cards to gain the weapons, or if the weapons are all in the game. I don't really know. But it looks like there'll be, dozens of cards that all relate to the weapon or a character or an enemy in the game, and that they will be used to do AR battles. And you can put the two AR cards next to each other, and then you look through the 3DS, and you'll see Pit and Medusa just duking it out through the cards. Then after that there was more Fire Emblem footage. Nothing that we haven't really seen before in terms of Fire Emblem, but they did show more footage of the 2-on-1 battles, and they did kind of show how different classes will react differently. So you'll have the archer and the knight, and you'll just see the archer hang back and shoot an arrow, then the knight, gallop up and actually stab the enemy, and then gallop back. It looks really cool, just to say the least. The new graphics on the 3DS make it look almost like an actual, like a real-time fighter, not like a strategy, like a turn-based or strategy game, where it actually kind of looks like you're controlling the people and they're attacking, and it just looks really cool, and it kind of makes me wish that Fire Emblem wasn't the style of game it is, and you could actually, control all these guys at once, almost like a real-time strategy game. But either way, I am excited for it because I do love the Fire Emblem series as it is. Next, there was a kind of a developer roundtable discussing Animal Crossing, and of course they showed more footage of the game. There was lots of concept art being passed around. And you saw concept art in regards to the new characters, and of course they're taller, longer, more proportionate models, and the new village of the game. Tom Nook is back in the game. This new Animal Crossing will have Tom Nook, but instead of just staying in his store, it looks like he will wander around town, and you could talk to him outside of the store, and I don't know. It was all in Japanese. I couldn't read any of the text or understand what any of the developers were saying. Then the final little bit they had was Luigi's Mansion 2. They showed another gameplay trailer. There was more haunted furniture, the suits of armor, as I mentioned before, kind of attacking Luigi. Just more sucking ghosts. It looks like a bigger, more improved Luigi's Mansion, and I can't wait for it. And that's how it all ends. Strangely enough, there was no mention of the second analog nub that was recently confirmed to be an add-on to the 3DS. I know a lot of people were expecting it to be mentioned in the conference, especially along with Monster Hunter, which of course the nub was kind of announced beside or alongside. But they didn't mention it. I don't know if they were trying to shy away from it because of the backlash that the add-on has received in the past few days, or if they just never had planned to mention it through the in this conference. But I guess while I'm talking about it, I might as well give my own feelings about it. I'm fine with the peripheral. I like the idea, and I do think that a second analog nub will help the 3DS have better games, and maybe more intuitive camera control or whatever you could use that second nub for. But I don't want it to become mandatory. Like I don't want it to have to be where I have to buy this peripheral to play these games. And it doesn't look like, aside from Monster Hunter, that any of the games that they did show off during this conference will require use of a second analog nub, which is great. That Nintendo, even though they didn't really discuss the nub, they showed that there can be plenty of games that don't have to rely on it, which I think is a pretty good strategy, because that's what people are afraid of, that they'll have to run out and buy this and spend more money on the 3DS, which of course had the recent price drop and really a lot of bad publicity lately. But basically that's my thoughts on the thing. As long as I don't have to buy it, I'm fine with it being released. And I probably will buy it anyway, just because I'd like to, if games do use it that come out, I'd like to be able to play them. But overall, I thought this was a huge conference for Nintendo, mostly because of the Monster Hunter announcements. Like I said, Monster Hunter, huge series in Japan, and that's where that's where Nintendo does seem to be putting most of its focus on now, or at least that's how it seemed during this conference, which of course was right before the Tokyo Game Show. I'm still excited for all the games I was excited for before. I'm just more excited for New Super Mario Land. I'm excited for Zelda Skyward Sword. And they did announce Fire Emblem. They did announce a few games that I will be excited for. Fire Emblem is the only one that comes to mind. I'm sure if I look through my notes, I'll find blah, blah, blah. Oh, the new Samurai Warriors game. Not so much Animal Crossing, because I've never really been into it that much. But it seems like this conference is mainly about getting like these trusted licenses and franchise. Again, Monster Hunter. You have the Vocaloid, Hatsune Miku, Love Plus, which is big in Japan. Kind of telling investors and customers that even though we've had some trouble with the 3DS, it is still capable of bringing you these great experiences. And alongside that, of course, you have the Nintendo franchises. This was definitely a 3DS heavy conference, but I knew that going in. The time that they did give to the Wii was mainly for saying, again, that these games are coming out for the Wii, even though everyone's kind of pumped up for the Wii U, that the Wii still has a strong 2011, early 2012 lineup. They didn't mention the Wii U at all either, which I thought was pretty smart, kind of leave that for next year to really get behind that in earnest. But it wasn't a groundbreaking conference, except for, of course, the Monster Hunter 4 announcement. But aside from the Monster Hunter things, it was really just kind of a recap and more explanation of what we already knew was coming from Nintendo. And I'm still excited. I mean, I'm an admitted Nintendo fanboy, and while I do have my gripes, especially with the way that they have been treating the 3DS, I can't say this calmed me, because it really didn't introduce anything new. But I'm still behind Nintendo, almost 100%. Again, I wanted to apologize for the lighting in this video. I know it was really crappy, but I kind of had to make do. This video did go on a bit longer than I wanted it to, but blah blah blah. So in the comments, please tell me what you thought of the conference if you've seen it. I'm sure it'll be all over the internet by the time this gets up, so you'll be able to watch it and make your own judgments and whatever. So please respond to any ideas you might have about it. Please post it in the comments. I'd love to read them. And I'll be following up on all these stories, of course, once it all gets translated and I could actually understand what everything said during the conference means. I'll probably make a follow-up, or if I got most of it right or it was in the neighborhood of that, I'll just wait until there's more news, more stuff, more big events to really really give my thoughts on. But these have been my thoughts on the Nintendo 3DS pre-Tokyo Game Show conference. Again, I'm still behind Nintendo. This conference really just proved to me that they do still have a lot of great games coming in this year and early next year. So, again, I'd love to hear your comments, but for now, I'm going to go to sleep because it is almost 2 in the morning. See ya.